Hello everyone, welcome back. So in yesterday's video series we have seen all about setting up the components. So where we have worked on the setting up the hypervisors, installing the management consoles for the hypervisors, and we have set up the Citrix controller, Citrix Studio and the Citrix license server, and we have done the site configurations for Citrix. So in this video we are going to set up the next component that talks about the Citrix Storefront server. So you're already aware where exactly the Storefront server fits up into the architecture. So here we see it comes to the access layer and also known as your DMZ zone. So here the same ISO you have to use it for Citrix Zen app and Zen desktop, using which we have done the installation of the controller. Same way you're going to go ahead with Zen desktop installation. And here, so previously we have selected the delivery controller. So this point of time you are just going to go ahead and select the Citrix Storefront. So once you go ahead and click on Citrix Storefronts, it will take quite some time to come up. So here the console is loaded up, and the license agreement, just go with I read and understand the agreement. Go ahead with next. Now core component is the Storefront is the one that we're supposed to install. Go ahead with next here. Again the same way, the firewall ports, you can keep it automatically. If it's kept it automatically, then in that case these firewall ports will be by default allowed through the firewall. A rule will get created which will allow the communication of port number 80, that is HTTP, and 443 that works on HTTPS with the help of the protocol TCP. If you go ahead with manual, then if your firewall is on, then manually you need to create the rules to allow these port numbers. So let us keep it automatically. Go with next, and the summary page, just go ahead and click on install. So installation of this will take quite some time, so let's wait for the installation to get completed. And your Storefront server, the prerequisite, it requires a .NET frameworks, and also it uses Microsoft IIS servers. Okay, so here the Storefront installation is completed, and see that open the Storefront console on the finish. Just go ahead with this, so it will take some time to open up the console, and once the console is open, we are going to work around with creating the stores and integrating the same Storefront server with the controller, and that would probably complete the setup of the components for the VDI environment. Okay, so the console opens up here. So the console that you see right in front of you is the Citrix Storefront. So as soon as you come to the console, the very first thing that we need to do is create a new deployment. So here is where you're going to perform the configurations, the basic configurations for the Storefront server, where we are going to create the store, then let you add it to the controller, or you can say integrating to the controller. Second option that you have got that goes ahead and talks about join the existing server group. So this option is used at a time when you would like to have two Storefront servers. So in the production environment, we would always have two Storefront servers. So for the primary Storefront server, you'll go ahead with the first option, and when you're going to go ahead and deploy the second Storefront server, in that case you have to go with join the existing server group. So let's go ahead with the first option. So create a new deployment. So again, as usual, it takes quite some time to come up. Okay, so here is where you'll be providing the base URL. So base URL is a URL by which your storefront server is identified. So here if you would like to have an HTTP, you can just keep it as it is. So by default it picks up as HTTP, and you see an exclamation mark here that probably say your Citrix connection should be with the help of using the HTTPS rather than going ahead and using for HTTP. So as of now, let us keep it as HTTP, and later on when we are working with the IIS server, at that point of time we would change this HTTP to HTTPS. Go ahead with next, and here on the next you are supposed to provide the name to the store. By what name would you like to host the store? The store is nothing but it is a collection of the URLs. Or you can say store is the one that holds the URL for the receivers. So deployment would again take some time. So here it's asking for the store name now. Store name default, I'll just keep it as a store. You can give anything that you want. Accordingly, the URL will be changing in that case. Go ahead with next here. Now your controllers. Go with add. So display name, by what name would you like to display your controller? And here you need to add the controller. So you need to provide the name of, you can provide the name of the server, or you can provide the IP address of the server. So here I'm going to provide the name. So name of my controller is controller dot test dot labs. So let me just check my domain name once. Test dot lab. Okay, so here goes controller dot test dot lab. Just go ahead with OK. And what type of transactions would you like to have between your controller and the storefront server? So as of now, I'm going to keep it as HTTP. Later on we will change it. Just go with OK. Next, remote access. Would you like to have remote access with the help of your NetScaler gateway? So right now just leave it. Later on we'll work on this option, and go ahead with create. So it takes quite a while to create these stores.